us!
Don't be fooled by the historical Japanese setting and protagonist with a penchant for different sword stances. Ghost of Tsushima, this is not. Because yes, while it's true that Team Ninja's first proper soiree into the open world genre shares a few aspects with Sucker Punch's PS4 swan song on the surface, it doesn't take too long for it to become apparent that Rise of the Ronin is a far more technical and nuanced affair, particularly in terms of its combat. No doubt this will be an exciting prospect for Souls-like veterans familiar with Wo Long Fallen Dynasty and the Nioh series. From the first few hours I've played so far, however, more impressive is just how well this PS5 exclusive has adapted such hardcore ideas to be more accessible, giving it a less daunting appeal as a result. Rise of the Ronin wastes absolutely no time thrusting you into the action. Cast in the role of a warrior belonging to an ancient clan called the Veiled Edge, my character's mission of revenge quickly got underway soon after being hit by a tough and not entirely unexpected tragedy. The build up to this epic moment formed the game's tutorial, where I was able to get acquainted with what Team Ninja had cooked up with its approach to swordplay this time around. As is tradition with its previous Souls-like titles, attacks are performed using the face buttons, where the way to win bouts is to be patient, not to rush in, and to read enemies to the best of your ability. The two most important factors to this are what's called Counter Spark and Ki. The latter represents a meter present in every foe you come across, which when fully depleted opens them up for a devastating and immensely gory blow. The best way to get them into this stunned position is by utilising your character's Counterspark action, being the main form of parry in your arsenal that sits separately from the conventional block. Being successful in Countersparking is all about timing, requiring you to know exactly when your blade will clash with those of your opponent so as to catch them off guard and make light work of them during the heat of a confrontation. The kicker is that even in just the first couple of hours I've played, there have been multiple enemy types introduced that all come prepared with their own distinct combat rhythm. A foe wielding a mighty Adachi sword, for instance, will have much longer wind-ups than one who's taking swings at you with a nimbler katana. Such a technical approach isn't something we often see within the AAA open world genre, where the likes of Assassin's Creed, The Witcher 3 and to an extent The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild are generally a lot more forgiving when it comes to trading blows. That said, Rise of the Ronin isn't fussed about giving you this power fantasy, merging the combat stylings of a From Software game with a more readable world and narrative, a combination that could see it set itself apart from other open world fare. Rise of the Ronin isn't afraid to lean into more familiar tropes outside of its combat though. Upgrading your stats, getting better gear, and gaining materials needed for crafting all comes down to clearing out regions and settling disputes. I'm sure more of these opportunities will crop up in the mid to late game sections, yet for the time being, the tasks asked of me whenever I didn't have a sword in my hand felt rather ho-hum. Or at least they would, had Team Ninja not had the foresight to include a glider, which makes getting to low ground from above an awe-inspiring endeavour as opposed to a hassle, and believe me when I say, there's some seriously beautiful scenery to take in here when exploring. Speaking of which, the decision to set Rise of the Ronin during the final days of the Tokugawa shogunate in Japan is already paying dividends too. The historic city of Yokohama is the first one I came across, for example, where the effects of industrialization are already taking effect in the form of built-up residential areas, ship ports, and other more modern sites than what you'd typically see had Team Ninja decided to set it just a couple of hundred years before. The 19th century setting even bled into my available arsenal too, where aiming at rival samurais and ninjas with a rifle to pop off a headshot kill proved a lot more effective than endlessly throwing shurikens or facing them down in a standoff. Despite only being a few hours in, I can already tell that Rise of the Ronin checks a lot of the open world boxes we typically expect. A beautiful location? Yes. A lavish number of side activities, of course. A tiered gear system and generous skill tree to make it feel like my character is always getting better? You bet. It's not doing too much that's new in terms of the template in which it's presented then, but it's that oh so satisfying precision combat, the type that Team Ninja is known for, that has so far prevented it from getting stale. Here's hoping that, as Japan in the Bakumatsu period starts to open up to me more, it can sustain this rather odd yet surprisingly cohesive genre mix for many more hours to come. So there you have it, guys, in terms of my initial preview impressions for Rise of the Ronin, the hot new second-party PlayStation 5 exclusive coming at the end of the month. Expect to hear my full review thoughts a little later on. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, be sure to leave it a like and consider subscribing to the Mirror Gaming YouTube channel to stay up to date with even more videos like this, including that final review. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
You're bound to astound all around you.